Alright, so I just got out of watching the movie Freakier Friday. And for now, all I can say is that this movie was very, very ageist. So Freakier Friday is a sequel to the 2003 Freaky Friday with Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan. And yes, both of them are back and looking very good after 22 years. But this time, it's not a mom and daughter switching places. It's a mom, grandma, and stepdaughters switching places. Trust me, it gets complicated. We'll talk about that later. For this movie, I was a little worried about it because I particularly don't care about legacy sequels much. Like any sequel that's more than like 5 to 10 years old, I kind of just stay away from it. There's some legacy sequels that are actually pretty good. So I was cautiously optimistic about this, especially since I love Jamie Lee Curtis and I love Lindsay Lohan. And plus, I grew up on the original. I was 10 years old when it came out. So I was like, you know what? I saw the original in theaters. I can see this one in theaters too. I'm really giving away my age right now. But anyway, the vibes of this movie did grow up a bit. The jokes are a little more out there than the 2003 version, but it still mixes up the tone of the movie to appeal to adults that watched the original and new faces watching this sequel. It's more so a family dynamic and a generational movie rather than just, a teen angst type of vibes. Way less eyeliner. So there's that. The chemistry between Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis is still on fire. Granted, when you go into this movie, you see that the switch happens. There's a lot of switches happen. A lot of people switch in this. It's not just 2 people, it's 4. So when Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis switch, you see the perspective of these kids in the adults' bodies. So that's where when you see the kids in the adult bodies, that there's a lot of age jokes in here. Like, I'm sitting here watching this like, wow, being old sounds very torturous. And this can either be good or bad depending on who you are, but there's a lot of, like, TikTok jokes in here. There's a lot of just like TikTok humor, like certain words and certain phrases, anything that you'd see from, the internet of what teens are using now, like the term like gaslighting and, stuff like that. Not trying to give much away of what's spoken of in the movie, but once you go in there, you'll be like, oh, this is written by someone that is really up to date on the TikTok lingo. What didn't really work is, depending on who you are, the TikTok lingo. It can either make or break. It depends on how you feel about it. You can either assume that it's too much, or if you like it, that it's good enough. I thought it was okay. I didn't complain much about it. Well, I didn't really complain at all about it. And another thing I wanted to bring up, I had to go back and do this, was the fact that I didn't like that Jamie Lee Curtis's character constantly brought up, like they emphasized on the fact that Lindsay Lohan's character chose to be a single mom. Like, how do you choose that? They didn't even explain what happened to the father of her daughter, but the only thing you know is that she chose to be a single mother, which was emphasized way more than it should have been. Can you guys comment below? Because I just want to know. I don't have kids, so I want to know how someone chooses to be a parent that's single. Comment below, let me know, please. And some parts of this movie kind of gives off the vibe that this should have went straight to Disney Plus instead of being a theater movie, because it seems like it's cheaper than it should have been. Like, they should have put more money into this and more stuff into this, because it's more than the original, but not as much as you'd expect from a movie coming out this year in the theaters. This really did feel like it would have been like straight to streaming. Either way, I enjoyed it. If it was on streaming or theaters, I would have still enjoyed it the same. But like I said, this does feel like it's a straight to streaming type movie, like a Disney Plus original. And granted, this setup, like everything that's going on in this movie, it's a little rushed. Even though this movie is actually longer than the original, like there are some parts that kind of drag a little too much. So I feel like they sacrificed the speed of the setup just for a lot of dragging, slowing down moments in this movie, which we could have just gotten a reverse of it being less rushed to get to the point and to just flesh it out more instead of using that downtime for just, like kind of boring downtime scenes in this movie. And like the comedy doesn't always land, especially with certain side characters. Like we got everyone back except the grandfather because the actor passed. But everyone comes back. Jamie Lee Curtis, Lindsay Lohan, Mark Harmon, Chad Michael Murray, the actor for the little brother, the band, and everything. Like everyone like comes back for this movie. Even the teacher's back for this movie. So like, but some of the side characters that were funnier in the original, they don't really hit as hard in the sequel. And like the standout moments for me was honestly like the last act of this movie, just how it all broke down. It was more emotional than I expected it to be. Like take that wedding scene from the original with the speech and kind of like spread it out through like the last act of the movie, and that's how that felt like. It was just the resolution, just everything from the script, the dialogue, the emotions, like all of it really hit. It really made me feel something in my heart. Like I was surprised that the end of this movie hit that hard because I wasn't expecting a movie like this coming out now to actually have like an emotional impact like that, but it did, and I actually really did enjoy that. The standouts of this movie was obviously Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan because it is the stepkids in the adult's body, so you see how they handle life in these adult bodies, and Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis really do play these young, I think they're like 13, 14-year-olds just going about life and just trying to figure everything out. Because when they switch, they're on a mission. And it's just hilarious seeing how they act. But on the downside, Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis's characters, when they are in the bodies of the kids, you don't get the kids as much as you do, because this is a Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis movie. So it did feel like it was trying to do a lot, which is why the pacing was kind of fast. But it did manage to somewhat balance it to the point that it wasn't fully overloaded with so much happening. It wasn't an overwhelming film. And like the standout moments in this movie, I like the callbacks to the original. Like I like the whole running into each other. I like the whole make good choices. Like I love the callbacks to the original. This was the same people that made the original, so I like that they still kept the vibes. So I can really appreciate that. If the original is punk rock and eyeliner, this one is more candles and emotional moments. It's different, but it's still fun nonetheless. If you grew up with the original, you'll honestly like this. But if you grew up with the Jodie Foster version, you might not like this, especially if you do appreciate the 2003 version of this movie. But either way, if you enjoyed the 2003 one, still give this one a watch, form your own opinions, and once you guys do watch it, comment and tell me how you guys feel about this movie. Tell me, did you enjoy Lindsay Lohan's bigger comeback role? What did you think about the movie? But in all, I enjoyed this. It wasn't as good as the original, so the rating I'd give Freakier Friday is a meh-tertainment. A rating below the original, but still somewhat entertaining. This would have just been better on streaming, in my opinion. But you guys let me know. Comment below if you guys seen it. If you guys haven't, go see it, then come back to this video. And comment what was your standout moments. Comment what you didn't like. Did you agree with what I said? Did you not agree with what I said? Whatever and however you feel, go down to the comments. Let it be known. And if you're new here, I'm James Hancock. And if you like my vibe, comment below, like and subscribe. And as always, I'm James Hancock once again, signing off.